Hey, welcome to yet another episode of Nerds with Badges. I am here at work. I actually got here well, it's 9:16 right now, 9:16 p.m. I usually try to get to work an hour early at least so I can have me a cup of coffee, relax, play some video games, wake up completely. I usually end up taking a power nap before I come to work. I don't know. It seems like that happens during the winter time for some reason. And I gotta be careful sometimes too before sometimes after eating. So one reason I don't like to eat dinner before I come to work is you get that you go into the food coma after. So I guess you gotta it's a good idea to make sure you eat certain foods, I guess. But anyway, I'm here. I got my coffee. I got my candy bar. These are like cranberry, orange cranberry with almonds, supposed to give you energy. And I wanted to talk. I meant to talk about this before. I don't know. I don't think I've mentioned anything before in any of my videos about this particular comic book. Now, this is a comic book, League of Cryptids. Came out. I think it came out. That came out last year, and I actually backed this comic. If you're not familiar with crowdfunding, how it works, the ones I know of are Kickstarter, Indigo, Indiegogo, and GoFundMe. So basically, you have a project like a comic book you want to put out, and you need money for your comic book. So you have a campaign, which is usually a campaign will run for a certain amount of time. So you want to do a comic book, and you need, say, $2,000 to do your comic book. So um, people will give you money to help you get your project. So I backed this project. I can't remember how much I gave. It may have been 100, it may have been 25. But usually, when people give things, when they give you money for your projects, you may have incentives for them. So some people, like some of my backers, didn't want an incentive. So like incentive, so like I give like $100 to get this to the people that are making this comic book, and so my incentive might be I get a free copy of the comic. Maybe I get a poster. Maybe I might even get a Zoom conversation, a Zoom call or something. This just depends on the tiers. So like maybe if you give more money, you might get like better tiers. Fly you out to you give $500, fly you out to the grand opening or something. I don't know. Just I'm just making up something, but uh, some incentives are cool. I mean, they all are cool. It just depends. Like there was a video game that came out years ago. I think it was Mighty. I think it was Mighty Number Nine or something like that. And for that video game, the incentives, some of the incentives were like keychains. You know, sometimes you might get like apparel or T-shirts. So it just depends. But some people don't. They just want to give you the money to help you get your project done. And the way Kickstarter usually works is you get like 30, say like you want, like when I was getting my comic book done, we had 31 days to raise something on my screen. We had 31 days to raise $2,000. And so there were different incentives. So some people might have given like $500 or maybe even more. It just really depends. Like you could just give the bare minimum may have been like $15, and for that $15 you will probably get like a free copy of the comic, and maybe a poster or something. But one of the incentives when I backed when I backed the comic book that I backed, one of the incentives was that a character that I created would be featured on a cover. So they have, comic books will have like variant covers. So You might have like a special limited edition cover that only the people that gave money to the campaign will get. Uh, so one of the incentives, like I said, was my character appearing on a cover of a comic, of the comic, a variant cover that only I would get, or specific people that gave a certain amount of money would have gotten. And another incentive was that a character that you created could actually have a cameo in the comic. And then another incentive, I think, was that you could even be featured in a story or something. So I really saw the quality of work that these artists were doing, and so that's why I started working with them. I started having them to do my comics for me. So have always been fascinated by cryptozoology, which is the study of cryptids, like cryptids, Bigfoot, Loch Ness monster, you know, Mothman, skunk ape, even aliens. All these things are like they're like mythical creatures that may or may not exist. Maybe they kind of dance within the realm of the spirit and science. You have cosmic and magic, unicorns, even. So, so I really do have a big fascination with Sasquatch. I love watching Bigfoot movies. I've seen some good ones over the years. Like Exists was a really good one. Big Legend was another good one. I've seen some really good ones over the years. I should do a video where I just talk about that. One of my cinematographers has always said you should really talk about a lot of the stuff that you love, especially when it comes to pop culture. I'm a big movie buff. I love a lot of like fantasy, you know, type. I like horror, creature features. Big on Godzilla, but anyway, getting back to Bigfoot. Since I saw this comic book, I think I saw and maybe they may have had something on Facebook about it or something. I can't remember. I may have been just looking on Kickstarter and saw the campaign for this, and I was like, wait a minute, that's Bigfoot. And I know Bigfoot, and then you got the Jersey Devil, and then I guess you got like I don't know if this is I guess it's a sea monster there. Maybe that might be Chupacabra. I don't know. But I definitely recognize Bigfoot, and I guess there's Mothman in the back, but they did like a different spin on Mothman. I guess like he's wearing some armor or something. But just to I thought it was such a cool concept. These mythological characters coming together, and there's like a superhero team, kind of like DC's. Uh, what is it? Creature Commandos, and then Marvel has a creature comic book. I don't know if it's Monsters Unleashed or something. I think it was, but I love all this stuff. So I definitely was like, okay, I want to definitely support this project. So I can't remember how much I gave, but one of the incentives was a copy. I would love to work with these guys in the future, because my comics, I do want to have build a connected universe, which is something that I've always strived to have all of my characters exist in the same universe. So eventually, you'll have characters teaming up, guest starring. I mean, when you think about it, Marvel Comics, man, so many characters live in New York. So it's just really ridiculous. But then DC has characters that live in different cities. But then you have like the cities that are like Bloodhaven is not like a real city. I don't think they might actually be a Gotham, but not like the Gotham. Um, there's no, I think it's Star City that the Flash lives. You know, um, but Marvel, from what I recall, most of the cities in Marvel they're all like real, based on real stuff. And I gotta say, talking back, getting back to talking about monsters and creature features, and Godzilla has really experienced a resurge in popularity over the years, and I'm just so happy because now I can get all the toys. Since everything is now all mainstream, I don't have to like go hunting in little Tokyo or Chinatown to try to find like hard to find imports of things. Now everything Godzilla's so big now. I guess Toho is and all these other companies are doing toys and figures and all these movies. Now all those old classic movies I grew up watching, are available on DVD and Blu-ray. And I think it was last year. Last year, I was reading DC Godzilla, King Kong and Godzilla versus the Justice League. And then there was, before that, there was Power Rangers and Godzilla. And back in the 70s, Marvel Comics actually had the rights to Godzilla, but they only had the rights to Godzilla. So when they had Godzilla in the comics, he wasn't like fighting like Mothra or Rodan or Ghidorah or any of those other characters. It was always like monsters that they had to make up because I heard the rights for Toho that they wanted back at that it was just really expensive. So they just had Godzilla fighting like, some generic mon. There was one character called Red Ronin, which was pretty cool. He was a giant robot. And you had characters like Devil Dinosaur, which I used to read. That was Jack Kirby's creation, and Devil Dinosaur was some actually did a crossover with Godzilla. Now Devil Dinosaur is like a kind of like a mainstream character. Now he's running around with a black chick. Um, his sister is supposed to be like super intelligent. I guess that's her. I guess that's her power. Because she's an inhuman. I don't know if she has any other powers. I know she's usually running around on roller skates, and she's able to like psychically change places with the dinosaur. They've done some crazy things, but I love the character, so I'm just glad to see him featured. Just like I feel the same way about Namor. It's a character I've always loved, and I was so happy to see him in Black Panther. But yeah, Godzilla has another comic coming out. Well, actually, a bunch of comics coming out later this year, where he's actually going to be doing some more stuff with Marvel. So that's interesting. It's almost like he's come full circle. But I mean, I think Godzilla still. I think the rights. I don't know if it's IDW or it's not. I don't think it's Dark Horse anymore. I think IDW was doing the Godzilla owns the Godzilla comic license, and there was a Black Panther versus Predator comic that just came out, and then now the Avengers are fighting the aliens. This is really interesting to see all these crazy crossovers happening, and I really wish that Marvel and DC would sit down and give us another Marvel DC team up because they haven't done that in years. And I mean, I think the internet would break if they did a Marvel versus DC video game. And I mean, it's just so crazy that that hasn't happened because we've seen all these weird crossovers. I mean, I could just really just there's so many that have happened over the years. There's Injustice. Then you had some characters from Mortal Kombat showing up, and then you had like a bunch of weird characters showing up in Mortal Kombat. I love when they do cool stuff like that when licenses, are able to like mix the universes. Like in the comics, I've seen stuff uh, like recently Naruto teaming up with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and Charlie's Angels teaming up with the Bionic Woman. It's just like an old TV show. I'll talk about that. That's one of my favorite TV shows. Basically, the Bionic Woman is like she's just like a cyborg. Then there's a $6 Million Man teaming up with GI Joe, uh, Wonder Woman teaming up with what was Wonder Woman 70s teaming up with like Batman from the 70s. So they were drawn looking like how they looked then. It was really like how they looked on the TV show and how they looked back in the 70s. Trying to think of some other really cool crossovers. I remember there was a He-Man crossover with Superman. With there was a comic book that they did, and probably well, I'm sure that was my first exposure to a big DC Marvel thing. That might have been no, there was a Superman and Muhammad Ali comic done back. But anyway, this comic was I have fond memories of it because I love the X-Men. So it was X-Men and Teen Titans, and I mean that was just I still have a physical copy of that somewhere. 'Cause I think I ordered it offline somewhere. But that was really cool when they did that because X-Men and Teen Titans, they were young adults with powers, you know, teenage angst and, you know, raging hormones, and then then you got to put on costumes and fight villains and save the world. So it was a real good crossover. I have a soft spot for Teen Titans. My experience with the Teen Titans was the team that was big in the '80s, which was Cyborg, Starfire, Robin at the time before he became Nightwing, Wonder Girl, and Kid Flash. I think Kid Flash joined later though. And then you had Changeling, who's now calling himself Beast Boy. And I feel like I left out somebody. I don't know if I left out. Let me see. Maybe do the girls. Raven, Starfire, Wonder Girl, and then you had Robin, aka Nightwing, Cyborg, uh, Changeling, and then Kid Flash joined later. But Cyborg um, eventually became a Justice League member, and I think I'm trying to think if anyone else from the lineup became. But yeah, the Teen Titans are now they're just the Titans. But there was a Titans Academy comic book. I hate sometimes when these comic books come out and they don't last long. They get canceled. Because I was reading Strange Academy, which is basically the X-Men school, but everybody that goes there has magic powers. And Doctor Strange is like one of the, I guess he's the headmaster or something. And then Brother Voodoo is one of the teachers or something. And you had like cool characters like Magic from the X-Men with the big ass sword, Colossus' sister who teleports, and then you had what's her name? Oh my God, there's another some more other Scarlet Witch showing up. It's like basically like magical characters showing up. I was reading that for a while, and then that series got canceled, and I think it's back again. So I don't know what's up with that. Or they can't just have a series just like continue instead of just doing like 8 issues and then just starting another series all over again. But anyway, that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about tonight. I'll definitely check this comic out if you get a chance. I gotta get back into the whole crowdfunding thing with my books. So I think within the next few weeks, it's just gonna be work, work, work for me, like Rihanna, when it comes to all this stuff, because it kind of takes over your life. So on top of that, I'll be doing more videos where I'll be talking about different things. And I also have some conventions that I'll be going to, and I'll be doing some more traveling this year. So February is kind of getting off to a slow start, but a lot is going to be happening. And as a video gamer, I'm excited about a lot of the new games coming out. Like I want to get the Switch too, probably. I don't know. I mean, I feel like I should be excited, and I kind of sort of am, but I think as a gamer, my tastes have just evolved. And being locked to just one particular platform like Nintendo, it's just I don't know, it just feels a little limiting. PC is just like more freer and just have it's just like a whole nother world. But you just like I don't know if I buy games on my Nintendo, if I buy games for my Nintendo Switch too, will I be able to play those games on the next Switch? Do I own those games forever? Even if I buy physical copies, the next Switch is gonna have to be able to play those things. PC, everything is all digital now. They don't even have most of the computers now don't even have disk drives in them. You got to buy it. You got to buy those things separately. Um, but I don't know. It's just Microsoft is just going in such a they completely changed their their how they operate now. I mean, everything is they're just really future proofing the Xbox brand. But I don't know. I guess I worry if would there be another Xbox? I mean, I guess it's nice. It would be nice to have something that, you know, that locally could run games, and I wouldn't be so much dependent on the internet. Because streaming is a good way to go, but downloading things digitally is nice. But what happens when the internet goes down? Like what happens um, if the company has legal issues or goes under or whatever that made the game, and sometimes things happen. Like sometimes you might go to Spotify to listen to an album, and then some tracks are not available because something going on behind the scenes. And I know they can go into the games and even change the music. So even take out music. And Sony is just like, yeah, I guess they're gonna continue to do the physical box. I mean, they are adapting some of Microsoft's strategies, and Nintendo is too, because Nintendo actually lets you stream games on the Switch because it can't handle some of the games like Kingdom Hearts 3, which I think could run on the Switch if they tweaked it some more, if they took more time. I mean, they get Doom to run on Switch, they can get anything to run on as far as I'm concerned. But it's convenient. But I mean, that pretty much future proofs your technology, though. I mean, if you have a device that can stream, then really the only thing that you're limited would be probably the quality of the picture that you're getting. Because you got like a shitty little laptop from like when the dinosaurs walked the earth. But you can stream Game Pass games. You can probably, I don't know if, I guess Sony, I know they have their streaming thing. I don't know if it lets you stream um, directly from them. I don't think they have a service quite like Game Pass, and then Nintendo really doesn't either. You're pretty much limited with the box. But I do know that you have remote play on the PlayStation, because I used to use my Vita when I would travel. I used to use my Vita and I would connect through the internet when I was in Detroit, and I could play my games for my PlayStation 4 would stream to my Vita. And then now the PlayStation has the Portal, which is like I don't know why they even bothered. They just should have made a console like a handheld, a straight up handheld console, and then add, and then they could have improved the latency. I guess that could have. PlayStation has always had, for the longest, for probably at least 15 years. I remember when I used to do security downtown, and I would stream games from their service. It was PlayStation Now, I think it was called, and I would stream games on my Vita. And it wasn't streaming from my PlayStation 4. This was streaming from their service, which they had. You had like certain games that you could stream. Um, so they have kind of merged. I mean, they got rid of PlayStation Now. It's not PlayStation Now anymore. They just merged it with PlayStation Plus, and that is like tiers, you know. So yeah, I don't know, but I feel like as a PC gamer, I have more options, more freedom, and I don't have to pay monthly online fee either. So those are things that I got to consider, like going forward. I want to make sure I can always have access to my library, and even digitally, you can always find your stuff online somewhere. Somebody, if you lose your disc or whatever, you can probably find a copy online, and I don't think that you're doing anything wrong if you copy something or download something that you already own. I think so. Yeah, there's a lot of advantages to PC gaming, and the handhelds are getting so much more powerful now, but they're expensive. Like I want to get the MSI Claw AI one, I think it's called, or something like that. It's got AI in it, but I think it's supposed to actually go on sale tomorrow, Tuesday. That the price is just like it's like freaking $900. I mean, if I could buy a laptop that can do anything, the only thing I'm paying for is the form factor. But it has AI in it. I guess AI helps out with how the games play, or how the characters react, or how the graphics, how it can do things to make the graphics look even better. Um, Frame generating technology is still something kind of new. And I think the PlayStation 5 Pro utilizes some AI. So this is a really new technologies, but they're making the games better. And we're getting to the point now where I guess, and maybe I'm just being wishful thinking, the light's going down, but maybe when the technology, when it becomes, we get to the point where you don't have to spend a lot of money for this technology. I guess in time, as it becomes more common, they just go ahead and just make the internet free for everybody. But anyway, I got roughly 20 minutes, 18 minutes left. I don't know. I might try to play some games. I got to finish watching Venom because I rented that. I got to finish watching that before the rental expires. I rented it on the Xbox store, so I'm going to try to finish watching that tonight. I got to start my shift in a few minutes. But I just want to do that video because I had this on my mind. I really wanted to talk about it. So, till the next time, I will be basically brainstorming because there are some things I want to talk about. I want to do videos on some things. I need to just make some notes, just kind of give myself a little structure. So for now, goodbye and take care. Thank you for watching my video. Please, please be so kind as to subscribe and like my videos because interaction is a good thing, usually.